Welcome to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Today we're doing verses 23 to 26, but this whole section all kind of goes together. I tested all this with wisdom, and I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. What has been is remote and exceedingly mysterious. Who can discover it? I directed my mind to know, to investigate and to seek wisdom and an explanation, and to know the evil of folly and the foolishness of madness. And I discovered more bitter than death the woman whose heart is snares and nets, whose hands are chains. One who is pleasing to God will escape from her, but the sinner will be captured by her. Okay, let's look at these verses. Now remember, Solomon is what? Solomon's the guy that had like 400 concubines and 400 wives, and this guy had it all. And remember, he's dealing with, hundreds and hundreds, 800 or 900 women here, right? Which the Bible plan is you would marry one person, you'd have one spouse. If that spouse dies, you could remarry. But basically in life, we're all going to get either zero or one spouse, maybe a few if somebody dies and you're a widower or a widow. But basically God's plan is monogamy, right? One person. So in that light, think about poor Solomon here, and we say poor Solomon, but here's a guy with relations with hundreds and hundreds of women. And of course he's going to say, well, I've found like one guy in 1,000 that we could really kind of sort some stuff out with. But among women, which he's close to 1,000 women, right? He says, I really haven't, he's had some trouble. He's had some women problems. And that's to be expected when you have 800 or 900 wives and consorts. So, yeah, so I wouldn't take this as the giant revelation about how good men are in relation to how good women are. In fact, there's bell curves that show that there's more women tend to have a bigger percentage in the average zone, intelligence, and men tend more toward the extremes. There's more men in the lower space of IQ, and there's a few more men in the upper space in IQ than women. So I wouldn't worry about all that. It'll all sort itself out. But Solomon has had some challenges here, and so he's kind of telling his experience. And this is a long wisdom monologue. So you know what? It's pretty challenging, though, to find somebody that's right on the same wavelength as you. Solomon, with all these, it didn't work out too well for him. But he's saying it's kind of hard to find somebody who's right on the same right wavelength with you. Solomon had a lot of foreign wives that did not share any of his values, and he said they were kind of like being chained to them and snares and a lot of psychological, weird mental games going on, it sounds like. So he says avoid that. So yeah, my advice to you is the same. The same advice I would give as a pastor to Solomon if I could, right? Let's keep it down to one wife, one spouse at a time, and that's for lifetime until one of you dies. Let's do that. I know that many of us have experiences that haven't lived up to that. So, you know what? Start where you are and be faithful to your spouse no matter what it takes. And God will bless that. God will bless that. Okay, let's put a note here in these verses 23 to 25 and 23 to 26 rather. And there we go. Yes, Solomon had woman problems. Yeah, because he had 800 or 900 women, and God's plan is monogamy. So Solomon royally, truly, he was the king. He royally messed up. This was a giant problem. So he has trouble here relating. But I believe that God will bless us if a man and a woman are married and converted. Then no matter how hard it is, there can be peace, and God can help us. So hold on tight. Don't do this silly thing. As impossible as it seems sometimes in your relationship, stick together and let God be your helper. But aim for monogamy, right? I mean, pick up where you are, start where you are, and go in God's pattern. Be blessed. Hey, next time we'll finish out the chapter with verses 27 to 29. Let's keep on going.